Over the past few months, our Project Commander has really started to take shape and begun the transformation into full-blown sport side-by-side territory. Now our goal is to try to see how close we can get to Polaris's Razor XP with our Commander 1000 XT. In the last episode, we tore the Commander's suspension down to the bare bones, removing A-arms, trailing arms, sway bars, shocks, and front and rear hubs, and proceeded to reinstall the new aluminum tie rod extensions, our first step to the new suspension and steering upgrade. In this week's episode, we'll proceed with the install of our premium suspension kit from HTR Racing. Now this +6 kit adds 6 inches of width per side on our vehicle. It's a total of 12 inches, meaning that we're gonna have one really wide Commander when we're done. The HTR kit comes in bare steel, but for a small fee can be powder coated to any color you wish, and we chose to go Bumblebee Yellow to match the Commander's color scheme. The kit comes from HCR with upper and lower A-arms, rear trailing arms, tie rod extensions, and new bushings and crush washers for the front suspension. Now the folks from HCR thought this kit through. It's simple and easy to install and utilizes a lot of the stock parts, like ball joints, tie rod ends, and bearings, meaning that you can go to your local Can-Am dealer and get replacement parts if needed. It's a nice touch. One of the great features of the HCR +6 kit is the fact that you don't need to extend the braided brake lines on the front or the rear, meaning you also don't have to bleed the system or mess around with the factory braking setup, making it safe and simple. Jumping back into the rebuild, the first thing I'll be tackling is the front suspension A-arms. Now I've already gone ahead and installed the factory ball joints, so this thing should go back together simply and with relative ease. Starting with the lower A-arms, I'll install the new bushings and crush washers and slide the new A-arm into place between the mounting tabs. Once in place, the stock mounting hardware can be reinstalled and the nuts can be tightened up. You know, it's really impressive just how wide these new A-arms are. After spending so much time in the uninstall with the old ones, I realized just how much stronger and beefier the HCR components truly are. HCR's built these things wide and they've built them strong. The upper A-arms are a repeat of the lower, using the new bushings and crush washers along with the stock mounting hardware. The only thing different is making sure the shock mount is installed in the upright position. With the front end nearly ready for the spindles to be put back on, I can go ahead and install our new, wider and beefier Summer Bros axles that have been mounted up to our factory CV joints. These new axles are not only wider to accept the +6, but they're significantly stronger as the extra width will want to twist the steel when put under load. The axles are simple to install and pop back in with a little pressure. When it comes to the front end rebuild, the spindle is the hardest part of the installation because so many pieces get mounted up to it. But if we start with sliding the axle through the center hole first, things go pretty well from there. The first step is to slide the axle through the spindle, followed by the upper and lower A-arm ball joint posts. From here, we can tighten up the tie rod, which at this point will not be adjusted for width. I'm also installing the disc brake rotor and caliper to finish the front end. It's incredible how good the new yellow components look on the front end of our Commander, and I can tell from the extra width that the stability is going to be hugely improved. So let's move on to the back end and finish this thing up. As with the front, I've already gone ahead and rebuilt the bearing carriers on both ends of the arms. Since we'll no longer be using the sway bar, it's a quick install, starting with the axle, then followed up with lining up the bolt tabs and sliding the stock bolt through the big mounts. You know, the sheer beef of these new rear trailing arms is incredible. It makes the stalkers look like toys, and I have no doubt that these are going to stand up to all of the abuse sport side-by-side riding will throw at them. Now they are a lot heavier, but because we ditched the rear sway bar, it's pretty much a wash. With the rear hubs going back on, the final piece to the puzzle is fitting up the passenger side and only rear disc brake rotor and hub. Finished off with a caliper, the rear end is ready to go. The HCR products that I installed today went on without a hitch and fit with precision, and I'm blown away with how good our Commander looks. And I'm excited for next week's show where I'm going to install the King shocks and the custom GBC wheels and tires to finish this rig off.